Here's another story about the compact disc, and you can try this experiment yourself. Take a CD that was issued in, say, the late 1980s. Then find the exact same album on a CD that was issued in, let's say, the last 10 years. Give both a very critical listen. Which one sounds better? Chances are you'll pick the older CD, which seems kind of weird and counterintuitive. Why would something a quarter century old sound better than something manufactured today? Well, the first thing that you should know is both CDs use the same technology that's rooted back in the 1970s, so this isn't the issue. It must have something to do with the data, the music itself. Compare the audio from the two CDs again, and I'm going to bet that the new CD sounds louder than the old one. The volume control hasn't moved on your stereo, yet the new CD is definitely louder. And being louder isn't necessarily good, because your ears get bludgeoned with sound. There's no delicacy to the recording. The quiet bits seem louder than they should be, and the loud bits might even feel distorted. And the result is a comparatively unsatisfactory listening experience. So what's going on here? Well, it all has something to do with something that's been called the loudness wars. Over the last 20 years or so, record labels and even producers and managers and the bands themselves have insisted that things be this way. See, it all has to do with when an album is mastered. That's the part of the process when the finishing touches are added before the master recording is made, from which all the CDs will be manufactured. The final intrinsic loudness is set for every bit of every one of these CDs that will come later. The trend has become to make that default loudness, the default force by which the music comes out of the speakers and your headphones, as great as possible. And the way you do that is through compression. Using various electronic means, you squeeze in as much music and as much music data as you possibly can. The result is squished music. There's less difference between the naturally loud bits and the naturally quiet bits. Everything seems louder. If you want to get technical about this, today's CDs can be up to 20 dB louder than they were back in the 80s and 90s. This means we're not hearing the songs as they were recorded. All the subtleties and all the textures in the album are flattened out. And if there's the tiniest bit of distortion, our ears hear it and our brains get tired. That's called listener fatigue. So why is all this happening? Well, because there are people in the industry who believe that the louder the recording, the more it will stand out and the more successful it will be. Although I've never seen one shred of evidence that makes this true. And with the rise of MP3s, which squish music even more, and the widespread use of crappy earbuds, the effects of compression are even worse. In fact, because so many people listen to music as MP3s through crappy earbuds, the trend has been to make those files, like the kind you buy on iTunes, even louder. And that means more distortion and more bad sound. These loudness wars may not bother you, but they drive me crazy, which is why I find listening to the CDs made in the 80s much more satisfying than the ones made in the 21st century. This is not going to work on the radio, but I am going to play a song from a CD that was released in 1985. And from where I'm sitting, it sounds way better than the same album that I bought on CD in 2007.